Are you tired of the blind leading the blind? Are you ready to escape the 9-to-5 grind and build a life that truly makes you happy? Are you ready to build generational wealth for you and your family? If any of this sounds like you, then breathe easy, because you are exactly where you need to be right now. A wise man once said, "When the student is ready, the teacher shall appear." So have faith in what I said and follow the path. My name is Khadijah Lashaun, and I am the Black guidance counselor that my community needs. I'm a strategic investor and CEO. I make money in my sleep, and I teach others how to do the same. I share my knowledge, talents, and resources with others. So if you're in need of that motivation or courage to start following your own path, look no further. My intention is to share as much value with you all as possible and to show you that there are many different paths to happiness and many different paths to wealth. You just have to find the one that's right for you.
Whoa.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good. How's your morning going so far?
Good. Just got back from the grocery store. I was thinking 2:00 Central Time, so I literally just checked my Instagram. I was like, oh wait.
My bad.
That
I
is,
didn't realize you were on a different time region. That was my mistake. But
yeah, no, it's cool. Like I said, I just happened. Something was like, let me check my Instagram to see, and then
that's good. That's good. It divine timing.
right,
Um,
exactly.
is now okay for you, or would you rather wait
Yeah.
a little bit?
No, we're good. That's good.
Okay, all right, cool. Basically, my goal is to highlight your journey as an artist and highlight your just how you've grown your brand, how you've how did I find you? Like I found you literally because you grew your brand. So
Right.
sharing that knowledge with my community and other people who would be willing to listen, because I feel like it's very important that we pass on the knowledge that we have and we don't just keep it to ourselves.
Right.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So like give to receive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So do you have any questions about my podcast or me or anything?
Yeah, like this kind of give me like a rundown. I've really been taking a break from social media, so I haven't,
Mm-hmm.
I posted stuff, but I haven't really, it's like I post and get off, and then I don't even stay on here. So just like, yeah, I guess
I
tell me about
completely
you, what you
understand.
do, all that stuff.
Absolutely. So, to tell you a little bit more about me, my name is Khadijah Lashaun, also known as your Black
Mm-hmm.
guidance counselor.
Mm-hmm.
I started my Instagram mostly around like natural hair. I initially wanted to sell t-shirts, but it kind of shifted because the t-shirts wasn't selling. The intention was not on point from the beginning. So like I kind of shifted to like sharing viral content, like Black viral content. So that's kind of like
Okay.
what I became known for, is like sharing knowledge and messages that people need to hear. So
Mm-hmm.
as your Black guidance counselor, I am a full-time entrepreneur. So I do a lot of things. I do Lyft, I do Airbnb, I do Turo, I sell
Oh wow.
e-courses and stuff like that. So like I'm all about buying time, if that makes sense. So even just doing this
Right.
podcast, recording it on live, like I'm all about
Mm-hmm.
sharing what I know, because that's what God has called me to do. And
Mm-hmm.
so basically, with my podcast, the Black Creator Podcast, is to highlight not just entrepreneurial journeys, but like spiritual journeys too, and like to touch on those type of topics. Because I feel like I don't know if you ever seen the Social Proof podcast.
No, I haven't.
Um, it's like basically just a podcast strictly about entrepreneurs, and this is what they did, and this is how they did it, and like just sharing knowledge and stuff like that. So my
Mm-hmm.
podcast is low key inspired by that, but I want to really
Okay.
highlight the spiritual side too, because I do feel like we don't really talk about those things as a community, and I want to
Right.
encourage people to talk about things that maybe we were scared to with our parents, or just be open and honest about how life really is.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So that's
Definitely.
overall me. Do you have any questions?
No, that's I'm glad I know that now. That's cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Today's episode was recorded via Anchor by Spotify and re-uploaded online. Welcome to the Black Creator Podcast, brought to you by Khadijah Lashaun, also known as your Black Guidance Counselor. I am here to guide you to the resources that you need. Today, I have William Toliver. It's William Toliver,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, William
Yes. Yes.
Toliver. He is an artist. I found him on TikTok. He has an Instagram. He's grown his brand, and I would love to hear more about his story, about his journey as an artist and an entrepreneur, I'm sure, as well. So, William, first off, how are you doing today? How's everything going?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very good. I'm happy that you are even welcome to speak with me. So I appreciate that. So I do want to start off just by asking you, like,
hmm
who are you and
hmm
what have you done?
Let's see. Well, it's almost like a loaded question
I
the way
know,
I'm
right?
asking.
It's okay. Take your
Well,
time.
let me see. Well, I would say that for a long time, I felt like I was like a jack of all trades because I was good at a lot of things, and but I didn't really have something that was my own, you know.
Hmm.
So art was a way to express myself that was solely mine. It wasn't somebody else telling me how to do something or what to do or when to do it, whether that's work, school, whatever.
Hmm.
I created things that inspired me by people and the things that inspired me. And I would say that was like finding that path was like a really big part of me finding who I was because I really spent a lot of time questioning myself and my journey because like you meet people all the time in life and they're like, oh, I know exactly what I want to do since I was like 6 years old and da da da
Hmm.
da. And I never felt like that. I was just like, oh, I want to do this. This seems cool. We'll do it for a while. Oh, this seems cool. I'm gonna do this for a while. And it wasn't something that was my own. And now I feel like I finally found like my thing, my purpose, and I can tell just how I move, and how I feel every day when I wake up. And, even the fact that the things that I'm doing are impacting people in ways that I never would have imagined.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. That makes complete sense. If you don't mind me asking, are you full time with the artist or are you doing it as like a side thing?
so I'm full time now. It was like a side thing to do.
Congratulations.
I appreciate that. Thank you,
Hmm.
thank you.
No problem.
It was super scary. I'm not even gonna lie, and like, that whole thing when people are trying to make that decision to, quit your 9 to 5 and go out into this entrepreneurial world. It's
Hmm.
definitely not a thing that you take lightly.
Absolutely not.
And you definitely have to pay attention to the signs that are placed in front of you and be intentional with how you move and what you do. And another part of that was I spent a lot of time. I did pray about a lot of things, and I talked to my mom because my mom is like my advisor and one of my best friends, and she's very big on pursuing your dreams and doing things that are important, but at the same time, they're like, as a parent, they're like, okay, this sounds good, but do you have an idea of like
Yeah.
just in case,
Like sowing a little doubt when you're playing.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it wasn't even in a bad way. It was
I
being
know.
realistic because you have expenses, we have bills. Like being adulting is trash. Like they don't tell
Yeah.
you that as a kid.
They really don't.
So they don't, because you're thinking, oh, it's gonna be cool. I have my own place, my own car. I can go and do things I
Like,
want to do
no,
and
you
go
gotta
out.
pay for all those things, man. Yeah.
Right.
You gotta figure out how
Like
you gonna pay for all those things.
exactly. It's not free no more. You're not gonna come home and mom has dinner up for the whole week for you and like got clothes already. If I went to the store and picked these out for you, it's like, no, if you don't get it, then you can't do these things. So
Hmm.
um I just became full time in August. So this is what, month 5, August, September, October, December. Yeah. So like my month 5, technically 6. So this is the 6th month that
Hmm.
I've been full time, and I taught for 5 years prior to this.
You
So
taught?
yeah, I taught high school biology
Okay.
for 4 years, and then I taught art the last year because I was I was definitely in a transitional period where I was trying to figure out like how am I going to make this art thing happen. And as time progressed, honestly, I know the pandemic has been a really big changing for a lot of people, but it finally gave me time to slow down and think, and really
Yeah. Calm your
flesh out
mind.
and have time.
Yeah,
Exactly, because
exactly.
you're working all day.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is hard. Your
Yeah.
mind is all over the place. You're focused on
Hmm.
all this stuff for other people instead of being focused on things
Exactly.
for you. So I completely
Hmm.
understand you there. I do want to backtrack a little bit because we got into who
Hmm.
you are now, but I kind of want to go
Hmm.
back. Okay, so tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about when did you realize that you liked art and like what was
Hmm.
the spark for you to keep going with that?
So I would say, I mean, I've always liked art in a sense. Like I like to draw, I was drawing Looney Tunes and stuff. I feel like most kids just doodled and stuff. Like I did that. And, my mom would make sure that, I had time cut out of my days, like on weekends or whatever. That wasn't, it's like, no TV, no nothing. We're going to do something like crafty, whether that's
Oh,
painting or drawing. Because she's like, I want you to be well-rounded and not rely on just like television, just, be a stimulus,
yeah.
you know. So very old school, or like at the very least, go outside, do
Yeah, at the
something.
very least go outside. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So it really was something I kind of just, I kind of just did it for fun, and then it really didn't start hitting home until I think it was about 2012. I had actually come back from I graduated from undergrad, and I was working in a family health care facility, and I was doing like allergy testing and some other stuff and immunotherapy treatments.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there's a lot of stuff that happened. Being you're young, I was 21, and I was like, "Psh, I've been working at this job, and my manager, I didn't like who they were, and
You made a rash
it was just
decision.
yeah, I'm a quit.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I was like, I can find another job. Psh, I can just find a job. It's not a big deal, whatever. So I
Mm-hmm.
quit, and I'm thinking, the big thing with healthcare at the time is like they want you to have experience, and I finally had experience. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like if I can find a job, yeah, that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I was unemployed, being 21, unemployed for I was like for like 6 months, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. So I
Was you
was like, I
still
need to do
living with your
something.
parents?
Yeah, I was still at home at the time because I was applying to medical school and trying to, take the MCAT and all that stuff. So it was more so just like a transition period of like me setting up for that next phase because, med school was the plan when after like my junior year at college, I was like, I want to go to medical school. That's what I want to do. Like I want to
Mm-hmm.
help people,
Yeah.
and be active. So I was like, and I liked, I like how the body works and all, the functions and nuances and all that stuff. So I thought that was cool. Be good, it's a good living. And plus, your parents are super proud. They say, oh, my son is a doctor, like,
Yeah. Yeah. There's that
so
pressure
that's
there.
all. Exactly. Like I
And
saw how
it's
hyped
not
they
bad
were.
pressure. I know it's them they want best, like they know what they know, but I think
Hmm.
okay, keep going. I'm not gonna interrupt you too much.
No, no, you're good. No, no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just saying that like I feel like parents they can want to lead you in a direction that they think is best for you, but like
Hmm.
sometimes that's like a dream that they wish they did. You know what I mean? So
All right.
like they might be like, "Oh, I wish I had pursued being a doctor. I wish I had done this." And so like they can sometimes push that on the kids, and I'm not trying to assume that your mom was pushing it or your parents were pushing it on you, but I'm just saying
Mhm.
that like that's like a traditional path, like our parents they kind of encourage us down a traditional path. So like I think
Exactly.
it's very brave of you to pursue your own untraditional path.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing that's been part of this whole journey is like, my mom and like my parents have been supportive. More so my mom. She's like, she didn't get that opportunity when she was growing up because her mom was like, no, you need to do this because this will get you these things. And
Mhm.
so she didn't want to be like that with us, but at the same time, she's like, you need to do something that's gonna make you money and like that you can live and be comfortable. So she's like, she did want me to take an art class with me taking sciences and like all my friends, they're pre-med. And so I'm like, it's part of it, was peer pressure, a peer pressure thing too. Like you don't want to be like left out. Like all of my friends are doctors now, like surgeons and everything,
Mhm.
which is funny. And I'm like the black sheep of the group where it's like, yeah, I'm an
Yeah.
artist.
I followed
And
my
business
own
business
path.
owner.
Sorry.
Right.
So you're
Yeah.
like the
So
one who's like just the risk taker in their eyes like, wow, they're doing this, but like low key they might be a little envious. They might be like, damn, I wish I could just wake up when I wanted to.
right. And that's the thing I talk to them all the time, they're super busy, but like one of the things they all say, like every single one of them is like, if I could go back and do this again, I would not be a doctor. But it's like you invest so much time
Mm-hmm.
that,
And money.
it's hard to, yeah, and money, it's hard to stray from that path. And that's like for, kind of going back, that's what my thing was. Like I was trying to figure out a way to deal with the extra time and a way to occupy my mind while I was trying to figure things out. And art became a way for me to just really like escape. And I realized as I was doing stuff, I was like, oh, I'm kind of good at this. I took like a random class at a community college, just a painting class because I had never painted before. And
Mm-hmm.
the teacher was just like, have you taken classes? We're like, no, I just do. This is what I just did. And they're like, oh, yeah. So you might need to look at some of these people and like take some more classes and,
Mm-hmm.
consider doing something with art. And I was just like, yeah, yeah, whatever. Then I went to grad school and, I'm getting my master's in biochemistry and stuff. And it was just like, when I would come back from class, I would paint 2 o'clock in the morning and paint till 4 or 5 a.m. and then have class at 8 a.m. Because it
And you would
was
be
a
so
way for me to
happy doing it,
de-stress.
wouldn't you?
Exactly. And I would lose track of time and I would look up and literally the birds are chirping. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah,
dang,
like
I was
damn, I missed out on another night of sleep. And
right,
then you had to go
exactly.
right back to where you like I
Right
understand.
back to class. I'll be in there,
Yeah.
just slumps in there, just
But you were
use up
having
painting last night.
fun.
Right, exactly. And at the time, I was painting this as a way for me to de-stress and to help my mind relax from all the stress of school and like applying to medical school and getting internship stuff and application, like all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was like I didn't even realize how much I had painted until one of my friends had come by and was like, "Your whole apartment looks like an artist studio. Like it looks like you just like this is what you do all the time every day. This is your job."
That's
And
impressive.
right, and it was, how like you're so deep into something, you're so closed in that you don't see the big picture. And I really didn't realize it until they said, and I was like, "Oh wow, like there's stuff everywhere." And one of my other friends was like, "You should apply to, show your work." And I was like, "Nah, like it's just something I do for me. It's not really,
You
it's
didn't want to
no
give it away yet.
thing, but." Yeah, like I was like, I'm just doing it for me. It wasn't something I planned to sell or anything like that. And that was
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago. I did my first show, met all these other people that, are they're artist people and creatives are a different breed. Very different.
Definitely. Definitely.
So it was really cool to be in that space and in that atmosphere and I loved it. Like I absolutely loved it. I was like, I gotta keep doing this thing and then, fast forward now, it's like this is all I do every day and it doesn't feel like work. I literally wake up in the morning every day and do something I love all day long. And I think on average, I probably work 12 to 14 hours a day creating stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, definitely more than a 9 to 5. But
Yeah. But it's not work,
right,
it's what you love.
exactly,
So you're
exactly.
not looking at the time. You're not looking
Ex-
like, oh, clock in, got to clock in at 8
mhm.
a.m., got to clock out at 5, got to get dinner. Like you just going with the
Exactly,
flow.
exactly, exactly. So
So,
that's
okay.
what's beautiful about it.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Like embracing your craft, embracing what like you love to do and doing that no matter what, like that is standing for your life. Like this is how I want to live my life. And that's
Hmm.
powerful. That's very powerful. Okay, so let's backtrack again.
Hmm. Okay.
So if my British accent pops out, just don't take offense, okay? Um,
Okay.
but what I was gonna say is if you okay, first off, where did you grow up and how were you raised?
So I was born in Maryland. Spent part of my time in the East Coast, so like Pittsburgh area. Then we moved
Maryland?
down here. Yeah, I was born in Silver
Maryland?
Spring. Hmm.
What? I was born in
Yeah.
Maryland too. That's
Oh, that's
crazy.
wild.
I was born over
Yeah.
in Prince George's Hospital.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, but I didn't live out there.
okay.
I didn't live out
Oh,
there.
you
I was
didn't. Okay.
I we moved to Columbia, but you can keep going. My
Oh, okay.
bad.
Oh, no, you good, you good. So, moved to Texas, like Dallas, and I would say, I mean, I'm basically raised. Dallas raised me. Like I call Dallas home.
Okay.
I spend most of my time here,
Mhm.
and growing up wise, I feel like I had the very traditional like '90s TV show life, where
Mhm.
You had soccer games and camping, and
Hmm.
you did a whole bunch of family stuff all the time, going to museums, all the stuff that like kids don't do now. Well, I feel like, we were outside all the time, always doing something. I was barely ever at home.
Mm-hmm.
If we were at home, it was like Friday night, movie night. We're going to Blockbuster, which doesn't even exist now.
I
Going
know,
to
right?
Blockbuster to get movies,
For
right? It's so
real.
it's so weird. That was the move. It was like, oh, we can just go to Blockbuster.
Or
Oh, I can get
Redbox
a game.
after a
Shoot,
while.
that was after a while, right? Yeah, exactly. So it was very chill, really cool. Like, my parents always were having me doing something. They kept me busy. My mom believed in, no, the idle hands are the devil's workshop. So she always kept me busy with so
Okay.
much stuff.
Was it a
But
religious household?
yeah, like I mean, church every Sunday. I did Awana like on Wednesdays, Sunday school, Bible camps. We did all that stuff, and my parents are very spiritual. I say more religious than spiritual. Maybe not
Okay.
now. More spiritual than religious now, but they used to be super religious. I mean, seeing things changed over time. I think that has to do with the fact of who, like the church you go to, and then the congregation that you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm. And if the pastor
Definitely did.
that you mess with is still
Right.
there, yeah, I
Yeah. So all,
understand.
all those things changed over time as we moved and like went to different places. And for me, I became more spiritual over time because growing up in a religious household where it's like you're hearing verses and scriptures and this all the time, and that's like a big part of your life. I feel like as you get to like adolescence, you start to question, is God really real? Is this a real thing? What is faith and what does that mean to you? What does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
Especially organized religion. And I know I questioned organized religion because there's a lot of similarities to me that as I did research about different religions and where they're based and just the practices and the beliefs, and then the people I came across that claim themselves to be one thing, but then they act one way, and just how
On
people's ideals
Sunday
are
and
kind of
then different the
mm,
rest of the week.
not even different the rest of the week. You get to the parking lot and it's different.
Oh
Like
wow. No, yeah,
you
for real.
just
It's
walk
like
out of
turn it
church,
on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off.
right?
Yeah, I
And you
understand.
you see that, and then the stuff that they preach, and it's just like you're almost being a hypocrite because the things that you're saying that we should and shouldn't do, you were just doing or did before, and like that's one thing that I went through a period of time, and that's when I really started create like painting a lot. Was I questioned my faith a lot. It was probably when I was like in those early 20s because
What?
I felt like, hmm?
I'm sorry. You felt like what?
Well, I just felt like I mean, to be honest, I felt like like God wasn't on my side. Like it didn't matter what I did, no matter how hard I worked, no matter how much I prayed, no matter how much I went to church and did all that stuff. It was just like nothing was working out. And looking back on it, that could have just been his way of being like, no, this isn't what you should be doing. You need to be focusing on this other thing. Like this isn't for
Yeah.
you,
Yeah, like the
you
thing
know?
that wasn't for you wasn't going to work out because it wasn't for you. So you had to
Right.
switch to the
But
thing that was for you so it could work out.
exactly. Exactly. But when you're in it, you don't feel like that. You're just like, how come
It's
every
just like
single time all
like
this shit
why
happens?
God? Why? Why? Yeah,
Ex-
I understand. I understand. What I was going to
Exactly,
say,
exactly.
so is it that you were questioning God or you were questioning Christianity?
Both.
Like both?
I question both, yeah. Because I mean, I do. I mean, at the end of the day, I do believe in God, and it's like there's only one.
Mhm.
And Christianity, I had started to question before, and that's like before I started, because like my uncle was Muslim. So like, I would talk to him about a lot of things, and then his level of enlightenment and understanding about the world and himself was a lot deeper than I feel like the people that I had known in Christian like that practice Christianity, like
Mhm.
their
One
understanding was the same.
it was one way of thinking and you were introduced
Right,
to someone with different ways of thinking. So it expanded your
right.
mind a little bit.
Exactly. And that was like the first taste of it. And then as I started to look into other religions and meeting other people from different backgrounds, like through college and stuff, that had, like similar ideals, but, they still believed in like, this one God and all that other stuff. I was like, there's really no wrong way to do this. Like, there isn't necessarily like a set, like, you have to be this, you have to be that. It's like, you believe what you believe. And as long as I feel like as long as you feel whole, at the end of the day, and you feel like, that's what you resonate with, whatever that
Mm-hmm.
is, whether that's being spiritual, whether that's being Muslim, whether that's being Buddhist, Catholic, Christian, whatever, then that's all that matters. And you shouldn't force your ideals upon other people and be like, this is the only way to do it, or that you're gonna go to hell and da 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 da.
Absolutely. I
So
agree with you completely. I think you can believe what you want to believe.
exactly,
And that's your choice. That's
exactly,
your life, like the consequences are yours, like it's not, and it could be good or bad. I'm not trying to say like,
right,
oh, there's one right way or one wrong way, but I agree with you completely. I think it's up to that person to decide which feels best to them, because
right,
some people
exactly,
resonate more with one religion over another, and there's nothing wrong with that.
hmm
Or even just
right,
resonate more with spirituality over religion, and there's nothing wrong with
right,
that either. So I think
hmm
that I like that you're sharing your journey with spirituality too, because it's a topic that a lot of people are scared to talk about. So, um, okay, so going back to where did you go to college and what did you major in?
So I went to undergrad. I went to Case Western in
Okay.
Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
I did my major was biology and psychology with biology and sociology with a psych and chem minor.
So you were
And
confused.
then it wasn't that. I just I really love how people think. Like I really like how, the human nature. I've always been interested in that. Like one of my favorite books is Aristotle's, I think it's called Nicomachean Articles, and he basically breaks down the 12 things that he believes that human nature needs to progress and that we
Mm,
need as people to do what we do every day.
okay.
And I've always thought, like, like even like Freud and all that stuff, like the psychology of thought and the id ego and all that stuff. I always thought that was really cool of how different people think based on their backgrounds. And some things are, nature versus nurture, all that stuff. And then the sociology aspect of just like how we interact with one another,
Mm,
how people perceive you, how others perceive things, and how the perception of the world changes based on your circumstance. How we can look at we can watch the same clip, and then we both could have two completely different stories from the same exact video,
mm-hmm.
which is, and no person's more right than the other, because your perspective is your truth, and no one can deny that. But
Yeah.
your perspective is all your own. It's very unique to you, even in certain similar circumstances.
Yeah.
So, and then, I thought that was really cool. And of course, the science part, because at the time when I did start undergrad, I really wanted to be a child psychiatrist. I thought that would be awesome, because I was like, there's a lot. I like kids, and I thought that would be a really cool thing to just kind of be like help them navigate life in a better way,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
You're kind of like my
then,
twin, man.
yeah, really?
Yeah. I majored in psychology. I love sociology, but I also majored in
Mm.
film. So I like
Oh,
focused on the
nice.
film aspect. Like I double majored, because I was just like,
Mm.
gotta be practical, but you also
Of
gotta
course.
be, follow your. That was something my dad
Mm-hmm.
always encouraged me to do. But
Mm-hmm.
that's really cool. That's really cool. I agree with you completely. Like I think psychology and sociology are very interesting topics, and they
Right.
really teach you how people are, like not how we think people are, but how they really are, like how things really work. Because
Mm-hmm.
just like you just said, I was thinking about a video we watched in sociology. It was just like somebody ran into the room and stole something, and it was a classroom of people, and like
Mm-hmm.
they were all, after the person left, everybody asked them like, okay, so describe the man, and every single
Mm.
person had a different description. Like somebody was like, oh, he was wearing a blue shirt. Somebody was like, oh no, he was wearing a red shirt. Like it's crazy how
Mm.
you're right, perception, but also that's the color thing. Like some people are low-key colorblind and they don't even realize it. Like we don't even know it. Like I had a friend, it was crazy because he was looking at something. It was at work. I was like, oh, I highlighted
Mm-hmm.
something in yellow. He was like, oh, is it the stuff that's highlighted in green? And I was like, no, it's yellow.
What?
Yeah, I was just like, he's like,
Right.
oh yeah, I'm a little colorblind. I'm like, oh, that's crazy because I'm just saying that's crazy that like we all have different perceptions and like different nuances to each person and how we see things. So I think that's all very
Exactly.
interesting stuff to study. Would you do outside of class other than, so you got your art thing going on, you got your school, your classes, but did you do any or any clubs or sports or whatever
So that's the crazy thing. I actually didn't do any art in in
in
undergrad at
college?
all. Like I never,
Oh, you did
yeah, I
it
never
in
took a
grad.
no, no, I didn't do it
Wow.
at grad at all. I just YouTube University was a great school, so that I attended.
Yeah.
Diverse group of teachers. Free
Yeah.
tuition.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so
Promote YouTube
I'm
University,
telling
y'all.
you,
Watch people start looking up
exactly.
YouTube
Right,
University.
university. Hey, if YouTube sends me a check, I ain't gonna be mad.
I know,
Like
right?
so.
So are you on YouTube?
But no, that's actually something I'm going to do this year. I talked to my community people, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to we want to have tutorial videos and stuff." So I figured, after teaching for all these years, I finally have wrapped my brain around, okay, what do I want to talk and do lessons over and let people
Mm-hmm.
know about, whether, and some stuff will be, business related, because I know that's a lot of questions that I get is about business. And then,
Mm-hmm.
this, I know there's a billion art tutorial videos out there how to do stuff. And,
But there's your
it's kind of like, well, right, and that's how I had to think about it, was like, okay, well, there's people are going to go and check these videos because I'm doing it. And I try to
mm-hmm.
make things very simple, because I try to think about how, um, basically I did stuff when I was teaching in my high school. Because I'm like, if I can teach a 12, 13-year old, or 14, how to do something that's super complex, like breaking down cellular respiration and all its parts and the amino acids and all the things that you need.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can break down how to draw people and do coloring stuff and painting stuff, and like,
Yeah, you know you
do stuff
can.
like
Don't
that.
say I think I can. You can do that.
So,
There's nothing
facts.
that's
There you go. There
stopping
you
you
go. There
from
you
it.
go.
If you can do it for yourself, you can teach somebody else how to do it. But okay, so
True.
I got two entrepreneurial ideas for you, okay? You can take
Okay.
them if you want. It's your decision.
Hmm.
I recommend you do is create a TikTok compilation for yourself, okay? And that could be a YouTube
Oh
video.
wow.
Because the thing is that those carry a lot of weight. Because say 5 years from now, somebody's looking up William Toliver, they'll see
Hmm.
William Toliver TikTok compilation. That's going to lead them to your YouTube channel, lead them to more videos and like want to check out more. And they're already found you on TikTok, so that means your content on TikTok is good. So that means reuse that content, make it into a
Got
YouTube video. Don't miss out on the opportunity to capitalize, not capitalize, but to leverage something you've already done.
right.
Okay? So I would
That's a
I
good idea.
I would recommend you definitely do a TikTok compilation. Multiple if you want. You
Hmm.
could do like categories like, oh, these are ones about Black women art or whatever it is, whatever.
Hmm.
So that's one idea I have for you. Another idea I have
Hmm.
for you is something called Airbnb experiences. You ever heard of it?
Hmm. No, so.
So Airbnb experiences is where you can do it either a virtual experience or you can do it on in person. So
Hmm.
um an idea I would have for you is to do like a paint with me, like a vibe and paint with me, like
Hmm.
because, that's a side that people may or may not see as often. Like we see your product, but like, do you really show yourself painting and stuff like that? Or I didn't look too
Uh,
deep.
I mean, like I'll do process videos, but it's only like, 1 or 2 seconds per part.
Mm-hmm.
But like I have a whole session. Like I've done like 1 or 2 lives where I actually just like put the live on and I'll just paint, and I actually forget that I'm on live and I'll just be doing
Mm.
what I do.
You just, yeah.
But
So
yeah.
that's what I'm saying is that with the Airbnb experience, everybody who would be in your class, they would have to pay to be there. So one
Hmm.
thing is you would be getting paid per person. So say you charge $10, $15 per person or $30 a person, whatever you decide. That's
Hmm.
how much you would get paid per person. It's something you can do from anywhere. So
Hmm.
you can be in China filming an Airbnb experience, on Zoom, and people will
Oh.
sign up, and it's like Airbnb automatically drives traffic to their site. So
Hmm.
on there already selling experiences. So if you find an experience that's specific to you, and you get those good reviews, you're going to get that consistently and you can do it from anywhere in the world. So that's something I
Okay,
encourage
okay,
you.
okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
Airbnb
I like that.
experiences. Yeah, if
I just wrote that down.
yeah, anybody listening, that's just one of the tips that's in my e-course, y'all. So just check it out. But
There you go. There
yeah,
you go.
I'm just saying that like definitely find ways to get your skill out to more people, impact more people, and you will continue to grow your influence and you will continue to grow your wealth because the more people who rock with you, the more people who want to support you. And you already know this.
Facts.
You already know this.
Yeah, it's been this year's been very eye opening. But oh, I just remembered your question before. What did I do outside of school stuff,
Hmm.
right? Um, Dang, what did I do?
You wrote
Oh,
those things down,
so
right?
yeah, oh yeah, of course, of
Okay,
course.
okay, cool.
I stay ready. I stay
That's
ready.
good. That's good.
So wait, so when I went to school, I actually ran track for a while, for like the first year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did intramural sports like basketball, and we did football stuff. I took up a dance. I like wanted to do like dance classes for a little bit because
What kind
I
of
was be
dance?
kind of interested, like contemporary jazz stuff,
Okay.
modern. It was contemporary. It was like contemporary modern, and I was like, I don't, because you see, like I've seen like Dallas Black Dance Theater and stuff down here, and like Alvin
Mm-hmm.
Ailey and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, like I never understood the movements of why certain movements were chosen and why certain movements represent different certain styles of dance. So
Yeah.
that was cool to see that and then get a better like get a intro essentially. I wasn't any good, but
It was
I was
still
there.
probably
I
a fun
showed up every day.
experience, you know?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Something
yeah. So
different.
that's cool. Yeah, definitely. And then I used to be a really big gamer for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
but then that kind of changed. That changed probably in the past couple of years, actually. Like I was a gamer for a long time. Like I would stay, I'd be standing outside of GameStop at midnight
Oh
trying to
Lord.
get things.
So you was
Yeah. So I
serious
was.
about it. You was not
Oh
playing no
yeah,
games.
exactly. Like I was always playing, entering tournaments. Like me and some of my friends, we play tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
To try to win money and stuff like that. And I
Oh
know, so
wow.
like
That's
this,
cool though.
yeah, like I still like it's crazy because I still have like multiple systems, but the only thing that really touches them is dust. These days, they just be sitting there because it's like my free time. I'm like, I'd rather create something than play the game. And sometimes, like, I'll play a little bit. Like me and my friend will play. One of my line brother will play Call of Duty for a little bit,
Mm.
just like de-stress for 30
Yeah.
minutes and be like, all right, bro, I'll catch you later. So
I
I get
understand.
back to work.
Because it
So,
pulls you. The creating
oh
pulls
yeah,
you, you know. That's where you like spending your time and that's it's gonna always pull you. So that's good. That's very good. I think I agree with the whole like because for me, I kind of distance myself from watching TV so much. Or if I do watch
mm,
TV, it's like watching specific types of shows, like stuff that like pulls me in. Like I love Game of Thrones. Um, I
yeah,
love the
so good, so
visuals.
good.
I love like the sets. I
Yes.
love the graphics. I love Daenerys. Like I love her. Like I really love Daenerys. But I'm just saying that I love the whole show. I love the production aspect of it. So it pulls me in there, but I can't sit and watch just any old show anymore. I just can't do it.
Oh no, same. I think honestly, when I'm watching TV, it's usually most of the time, like 99% of the time, is like anime because I love watching anime. And
Mm-hmm.
then other than that, I'm watching like This Is Us or some random thing that's on the top 10 for Netflix because it's like
Yeah.
trending or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's
if you're
not
like,
always
here's
the
something,
best though.
yeah, it's not like you'll watch something and be like, okay, I don't understand why this is hyped up.
Mm-hmm.
But then other things you'll see that are just random because I'm a big movie person. I will put on movies all day long,
Mm-hmm. What's
and
your
why
favorite
like I'm not
movie?
even. That's like asking me, do I want air to breathe? Like,
Top five. Top five. What's the first five that comes to
okay,
your mind?
first five, Gladiators one.
Okay.
I like historical stuff. Russell Crowe was amazing in that. Training Day.
With Denzel.
Uh, of course, yes. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
iconic movie.
Absolutely.
I definitely Titanic. I really love Titanic.
Oh. So
I
you're
do, yeah.
romantic?
Yeah, yeah, hopelessly.
It's okay.
So, other movies. Let's see. So I really love Lilo and Stitch. It's one of
Ooh,
my favorite
I
movies.
love Lilo and Stitch. I love
Well,
Shrek too. Shrek is one of my favorites.
wait, the very first one,
The
or
very
like
first
two
one,
or
yeah.
okay, okay. See, Shrek 2 is my favorite one out of those ones.
I understand.
Something about like that. When they storming through the castle, I was like, oh, that's a lot. That was
It was
so
a
well
lot.
done.
It was a long movie. It was a long
It was
movie,
so
but
good.
it's worth the journey, you know? It's a journey they're taking you on. I was just talking to my dad
Right.
about this. He was just saying how like they really aren't like creating a lot more movies with like a journey, like where it really takes you
Oh no,
somewhere, you know?
exactly. Like I just watched Encanto, and I was just like, I felt like it was cool, but it was kind of not. It wasn't like fulfilling. I felt like the way it kind of got hyped up. I thought it was gonna be more.
What movie?
The Encanto movie that just came out on Disney Plus with
Oh,
the
okay.
Spanish family that they like their
You ever seen
house has like
Soul?
magic in it. Of course,
Yes,
they
that's
came
one of my
out.
favorites, man.
That was good. That was
I
so
have to
good.
be honest with you. I do have to go to the bathroom real quick. So
Mhm.
can we pause for like 10 minutes and come back?
Yeah, it was like, do I just need to log back on through the
Yeah, I
phone?
will just send you the same link again in like
Okay.
10 minutes. Is that all right?
All right, that works. Yeah, that
All right.
works.
All right, cool.
All
I
right.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay. Hey, here we go.
sorry for taking so long. My bad.
You good? You good?
I
You good?
was grabbing some water from the place, but you still good?
Yeah, yeah. I'm still
Are
good.
are you limited on time?
Actually, right now I'm just working on a digital design, so multitasking at the moment. So it's good.
Mhm.
So
Okay, cool.
good.
So, what was the last thing that we talked about? Last thing that we said. We were talking about Shrek. Oh yeah, we were talking about movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, I want to switch to let's talk a little bit about your spiritual journey.
Okay.
Um, so tell me a little bit more about that.
And I guess what aspect? 'Cause I feel like
So,
there's a lot that went on there.
I understand. I guess when did you start becoming more spiritual and like what kind of messages have you been receiving from God?
I became more spiritual. I would say, hmm. Well, I guess that transition started to happen when I was in grad school. I
Hmm.
really was looking into. I started reading a lot about metaphysics and like stuff like that, and I really thought that was interesting. And then
What is
also
metaphysics?
looking.
What is metaphysics for anybody who doesn't know?
So basically, like the idea that like everything is encompassed within itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So nature and the world, the rest of the world exists in the space that correlates to us living and existing. So we kind of feed off of each other in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and that there's a distinct relationship between like consciousness and like how your mind works and how matter is made. So like, almost like the idea of like manifestation stuff. So like, you put your mind, like if you think that you're gonna have a bad day, you're gonna have a bad day because you're putting that energy out into that world, and the energy just like transfers into certain circumstances and events that then affect you.
Mm-hmm. It make your
And
day
then
bad.
yeah, it can make your day bad, which it kind of goes back to like that idea that if you're looking for something, you're gonna find it
Mm-hmm.
because you're putting your energy into looking for that thing, and
Yeah.
vice versa. So it's that whole law of attraction kind of idea, and that's at least how I broke it down. And then like I kind of dove deeper into it with this idea of like the collective conscious, which is like it's like this theory that um, essentially like time. I mean, obviously time is a made up construct. Like time is a thing,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously you see the progression of time, but the construct that we've formed time into like 24-hour days, 60 seconds in a minute, like all that stuff is a
Yeah.
man-made thing that, though technically does the rest of the world follow that same timeline? Or because you think of like dogs and stuff, right? Or like, you think of like dog years.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, it's like, okay, well, their cells metabolize and have a shorter lifespan, and it's equivalent to our cells working 7 times faster than what they do. So then that's why we say, like, oh, they have seven every year for us is 7 years for them. But in reality, time is just shorter for them in a way. But so what if their time construct was if they could like, verbalize stuff to us? What if their time construct was different? You know, pertaining
Mm-hmm.
to them. So it's kind of like that idea. And then like you have a thing where if you, our consciousness is like awakened at certain points in this like collective conscious, right? So no one really technically quote unquote dies in the theory. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, that's why, and it explains things like kids that know about things that happened in like the 1900s or something that they literally have no way to know this. Like
Mm-hmm.
certain details have been documented throughout time, or even, and it also can explain why you have inventors and like quote unquote prodigies that, like, how did you know how to make the internet the internet? Like, there's no basis for this. There's
Yeah.
no,
Where did this
you
come
know,
from?
where did this
Thoughts.
come from? Right. And that could be a thing of that. They theorize that, okay, well, this is like a transfer of consciousness and certain parts remain. So that's why you innately knew how to do X, Y, and Z. And then, of course, the spiritual side of it, people can be like, well, that was divine intervention of like, God was speaking to you and letting you know these things, so there's quote unquote rationale for everything. But I would say that it got stronger once I really took some time to really just kind of like reassess and quiet my mind after I got out of school, and that some things were were up to me. Where it's like you can pray about stuff and you can ask God for help and guidance, and I become more intentional with how I pray. And my mom was always like, "You be specific," because I noticed when I would ask for things in a general sense
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, then it's something like I was like, "Oh, this happened, but." I should have been more specific, like so I've
Yeah.
been I've learned to try to fine tune that, and that has helped me like even with this journey now. Like I prayed a lot about it because I know before I actually made that final decision to quit, I had been asking God, I was like, can you show me a sign that lets me know like this is time? And of course,
Mm-hmm.
God works in a way that he's not going to be like, this is your moment, do it right now. Like it's not going to be like that,
Yeah.
but he'll present an opportunity or a situation to where you can choose to either walk through the door or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that walk through the door moment, and it was then at that time that I had to make up in my mind: Am I going to take this leap, or continue to be like, oh, I don't know if this is the sign or not? And it's like you feel it. Like I feel like we all have a feeling, and that we know when something is being told to us in a way that isn't just us. It's a more spiritual sense,
Mm-hmm.
and we can make that decision whether or not to listen to that voice or ignore it.
Yeah. So what was the situation or the opportunity that presented you to decide to quit your job?
So oh
And
man,
what
it's a
were
lot
you
like long.
what were you doing at the time?
So at the time, so this was actually I guess it started back in 2019, like that feeling of restlessness and not being satisfied with teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would be stressed out, and I could physically tell the stress was getting to me. Like I was like biting my cheek and stuff more. Like I was like my hair started to like get thinner and stuff too, and like I just wasn't taking care of myself as much because I
Mm-hmm.
was so stressed
Busy.
out with work stuff and
Mm-hmm.
busy, right? And like art wise, it was like I was doing stuff and trying to do more shows, be more active. And at the time, I had become more purposeful with what I was creating. So then the pandemic hit, and when I tell you, it felt like so much of like a breath of fresh air. Like every beat part of my being needed that
Mm-hmm.
because I had gotten to like like it was almost like at a breaking point, and it was like I had asked, I was like, man, I need a moment, I need a moment. I was looking forward to spring break because like I need a moment to just have some time to get it together. And he's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I'll give you more than a moment, and do with it what you will. And over time, things started happening. Social media started to grow and everything else like that. And when I came back to school, the 2020 school year, it was like all of a sudden all these things started to happen. Where because I had done a lot of stuff in the summer, and I could start to see like, oh, okay, people are liking my work and what I'm doing and the message. Like the community was starting to get built, and people were starting to see my work and support what I'm doing. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was exciting. And then, I got on the news for some stuff. And so when I got back to school, teachers were like, oh my God, like we saw you on the news and da da da
Oh,
da. This is so awesome. Like you're one of our teachers. And they were really, really hyped right there. Like, oh yeah, like one of our teachers was on the news for this and does
yeah.
this.
Like one of our teachers. Yeah, I got
Right,
you.
and they were excited, right? And but then that came at a cost, I felt like, because then it was almost like now there's like a target on me. So now there's more eyes on me. And so then all these issues started to happen during the school year with, you know, I had made like a couple of TikTok videos with some of my kids. Like one of them was like one of my kids because since I had a lot of kids from biology, they were like, you know, they were older and they were taking science, like physics and chemistry, and I would still help them with some of their homework and lessons and stuff because I still knew it, even though I wasn't teaching it because I was teaching art. So I
Mm-hmm.
would have kids that I had taught previously, and they would come in just, you know, say, "Hey, what's up?" And we would talk about work, anything they need help with, and because they were like, "Well, we trust you more, and we know you understand how to teach us. So, like, can you help me with this?" And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I would have little study sessions during lunch and things like that after school.
But they
No
had
big
an
deal. And
issue
like,
with that.
and they did. And that one of the videos I had made, one of the kids, and he was a kid that he wasn't good at like biology and science wasn't his thing, but we made it work. But then like
Mm-hmm.
this last year with physics, he was super excited about physics, and they were learning about like force and motion. And I remember we made a video because he's like, "Oh, can you put it on your TikTok?" Because he showed us how to break an apple with your finger,
Mm.
like a whole apple. And I was like, "How the heck did you do that?" Because he literally
Yeah.
just like hit it and it split in half. And I was like, "You cut it? Why you're lying? Like there ain't no way." And he's like, "No,
Yeah.
for real." Like, and he was talking about the pressure points and all that he had learned. And he showed us like, "Yo, we got it." He's like, "Can you make a video and then put it on your page?" And he tagged me. I was like, "Sure, why not?" Like, if I can use my platform to help you get recognition for doing something you love to do, like
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you're teaching people stuff. Like if he literally was talking about, so you put this amount of force and pressure here because of this, and this, and he was giving a science lesson in something that was really cool. And I was like, this is a kid that last year would never have done that.
Mm-hmm. So you were trying to
So I was
encourage
hyping
him.
him. Right, exactly. I was trying to encourage him, hype him up about it because that's exciting to
Mm-hmm.
see. And I remember like that happened, and another kid did a spoken word piece. Really shy kid, never wanted to talk in class. Now he's doing spoken word pieces and entering poetry stuff because we would go over his poetry and his spoken word stuff and getting his thoughts out on paper when I had him in my class the year before.
Mm-hmm.
So then I put that on my social media. So like two instances like that, and then HR came in talking about you don't have consent for them to be on your page, and we suggest that you remove your page and have it go private and blah blah blah. So that was like
What?
yeah, yeah. So that was like one of the beginning things. Then I don't know if you heard about this recently. One of like the kid that he had went to a party, not party, but he went to a friend's house and they forced him to drink urine from a cup. I don't know if you heard about that.
No, I have not.
So that was one. So the kid in question was one of my students. It was her little brother, and she was telling me about how he was in middle school at the time, and he had went to guys thought he was friends with went to their house. They woke him up and recorded him, and they forced him to drink urine from it, and sent the video to everybody at the school.
Wow.
And he tried to commit suicide.
Oh my
So it was
goodness.
like he had issues with just being at school and being bullied really bad by not only the students but teachers. It was like a whole thing. It was like all over the news down here and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But we were talking about that, and I made a video on my TikTok, just a PSA, like, hey, this is a situation that's happening. I didn't really drop any names like that. I
Yeah,
showed
you
the
just
clip,
yeah.
and yeah, and I just made a public service announcement. I literally said just like, hey, bullying is a really big problem, whether that's in person or virtually. And you need to check on your kids, especially younger kids, because a lot of times they won't speak up and say something if something's wrong. Like they'll
Mm.
just kind of go about their day. And I've had friends that have lost, cousins and brothers and sisters due to, bullying where they took their own life. They
Yeah.
went to the, parent went to the grocery store, came back, their kids hanging from the banister, like
Wow.
stuff like that. So I'm like, that's a big deal because you don't want to wait till it's too late and your kid's
Yeah.
not here anymore.
You had good
So I mean,
intention with it. It wasn't out of
exactly,
malicious intent or anything like that.
exactly. No malicious intent, nothing crazy. One of the parents of one of the boys that was like involved in the incident, I had her son in my class, and I didn't even know this at the time, and she filed. So basically, they reported the video, and then I had to go to HR and deal with all this HR stuff about the video and how she felt like it was inappropriate that I was taking sides, and I was, she questioned my
What?
ability as a teacher and my judgment, and she feared for her son's safety in class, and like all this
Lies.
stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, I didn't even know your son was even involved, like in
Mm.
it, like that it was your family. until you said this. No one would have known if you didn't say anything. And like my video had nothing to do. Like I wasn't bashing anybody. I was just like bringing awareness. Like that's what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that was another issue. So then from then on, like the rest of the school year, I mean, I would have walkthroughs coming through my room like every week.
People
Anything
coming
that I
through and
was
checking
having,
on you, seeing what you were
what I was
doing,
doing in
watching
class.
you. Okay. So it was a hostile
Yeah.
work environment.
Right, exactly. And it's like little microaggressive things of like, oh, we had STAR testing when we switched out like our state testing. And, it was the last day of the week. The kids were working on a big project because, in art class, you don't do necessarily have an assignment every single day. You have a project that you work on over time.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of times I tell the kids, hey, you listen to music, da, da, da. If you're done with this part of the section of the project, work on something for another class. If you need to catch up on stuff, catch up on another classwork.
Hold on
You
one
know,
second.
can't.
I have one question. Are you teaching? So you were teaching art in high school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you were teaching high
Yeah, the
art
last year.
in your last year, but before then you were
Right.
teaching biology.
Biology. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so how did you make that? Okay, well we'll come back to that. Keep going with your story. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
The change. I remember that how I made that change. So then like principals came in and made a whole public email about like because one of my kids was working on another subject in class. One was listening to music, like watching a show,
It's
but
your
still working.
class, bruh.
And that's the thing. They're still being productive. I'm like, you're not. I say I can't even sit there and be mad and be like, you can't watch because I will literally turn on a show. Like we'll turn on like a show or something, or put on music and create. I don't sit here and create in silence. Like
Yeah,
that's weird.
that is
So
weird.
that was like a whole thing. And then the final straw was very last day of the semester. I mean, the very very last day. Like I packing stuff up for the summer. At this time I was still like on the fence about if I was coming back. But like I was still leaning more towards it. Like, yeah, I'll give myself another year because that should give me more time to get things set up. Have more money set aside just in case. And I get a call from like this one of the district numbers at like 8:50 something in the morning. Our day starts at 9, which is really weird. I'm thinking it's like the traditional end of the year call. Make sure your room is locked up. Put your stuff away for the summer. Blah 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 blah. Like
Mm-hmm.
normal teacher stuff. I answer the call and it's like, hey, this is so and so from the head of the HR department in the district. We had a report of somebody filed a complaint against you, and this is the third time that we've gotten a complaint about you do and da 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 da. Basically, it was about they questioned me using my social media as leverage in my role as a teacher to help me make sales during contract hours,
Bruh.
and that was a violation of my contract and in the best interest of the students in the district. And they were under review for stuff, so I spent like the whole day, that Friday, and then most of the weekend dealing with HR stuff. And when I got off of that call, when he called me in like the middle of him talking, a voice literally came out and he's like, you're done. This is it. This is what
This
you've
is
been asking for.
yeah. This is the last straw.
hmm That was literally it because it was so many things, and they're like someone in the district filed a complaint and all this other stuff, and they were just going through my social media asking me about all this other stuff, and I'm just like, their main complaint obviously was like, oh, you're making money during contract hours. Like I do stuff during my lunch break, which is my time, and then
Mm-hmm.
I do stuff after school, which is not during contract hours. There's so many days I stay after school, whether that was for basketball practice, clubs that I ran, kids that just didn't have anywhere to go because their parents were late. I would stay after school and would be there. Like y'all can chill in my room instead of being outside in the cold or, just like sitting out here. You can
Mm-hmm.
sit here, and then when your parents come, just have them call you or text you, and then you can go do whatever.
Yeah.
So if I'm there till 6, 7 o'clock, that's on me. Like school ends at 4,
That's
like
your
4:15.
choice. It's your
That's my
choice.
choice.
It's your
So
time, bruh.
exactly and that was like that. So after that, I was like, yeah, this is it. I'm done.
I
And
understand.
that was like the big thing. But I think the question you're gonna ask like how did I make that transition from biology to art, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have some other
So
follow-up questions after that too.
okay.
But go ahead.
Okay, yeah, yeah, cool. So if anyone doesn't know, for teaching, at least in Texas, you can, if once you basically get your teacher certification, you can take the test to take any other subject without really having any background knowledge about it. Like if I wanted to be a history teacher, I could just take the history test and go teach the class.
Hmm.
So there's a thing if you're a teacher and you want to switch to another
Yeah.
course. another subject. Teachers do it all the time. I mean, ideally, they do want you to have some background. You know, it really depends on the district and your principal because it's your principal's decision. But the guy that was the art teacher previously, he actually was joining the military, and me and him were really cool. And he was talking about leaving. I was like, oh, this is my opportunity to switch to art because, I had taught biology for a while, and I knew that it was my time in the science department was done because I
Mm-hmm.
just my patience and stuff just wasn't at the same level, and it was like two really challenging years back to back. And I was just like, I learned a lot of how to teach and how to teach in a more simplistic form, which I feel like now I look back that I needed that in order to like be able to really effectively communicate material to
Mm-hmm.
different age groups of people. So definitely beneficial, but it wasn't as hard as, and it wasn't like a big deal. It was more so just part of it was politics, and later just going to go take the test. Nothing really crazy.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Um, that's very cool that you were able to make that switch because that was something that you were probably more like inclined to do, like not as tedious and as it's the same all the time, you know?
Right, exactly,
But
exactly.
so I want to talk a little bit about you had mentioned like how, everybody was kind of coming after you at that
Hmm.
place. They were all like it's clear there was a lot of judgmentalness, closed-mindedness, and I guess for me, I want to know more about like how did you deal with that emotionally? Having that stress of like everybody's out to get you, and like how am I going to keep doing this? Like how did you handle that?
Um, Honestly, it really fueled my fire to put into my craft even more.
Mm,
So I turned that negativity into something positive, which for me, that art has always kind of been that because when I first started creating, I couldn't create unless I was going through something emotionally. Like it had to be, I created from like pain and negativity. So I think
mm.
that's something, and I know that's like kind of a messed up way to when you
But I
think
mean, it's
about
cathartic. It's cathartic.
it's true. It really is, and I've had to I developed discipline over the years. So where it's not necessarily always emotionally driven, but when I start doing it, a piece of me becomes part of the piece. But in that particular space, it was just like, okay, y'all are saying all these things and doing all these things. Like, I'm gonna show y'all something, and just
Hmm.
you wait, basically, and it's like,
Okay.
it just became a thing. And I'm a really laid back person anyway, so a lot of things don't bother me because I have a really kind of like, you know, I don't really give a fuck attitude. I don't know if I can say that on here,
Yeah.
but
No, you're fine. You're fine. You can
okay,
speak your mind. I like
okay, yeah.
person and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's me. Like, if anyone knows me, like, I really have a very nonchalant, I don't give a fuck attitude a lot of times, and a lot because
Hmm.
people when they meet me, they're like, "You're just really super chill and don't care about a lot of stuff." It's like I just pick and choose what I give my emotional, like energy to, because if you allow people to manipulate your energy that don't matter, you're gonna be in a constant state of like chaos and never happy. And like I realized that dealing with kids because it's like they'll push your buttons, and if you keep letting them do
Hmm.
it, you're always going to be upset and frustrated every day. And
Yo,
it's like I'm not the one. Like that was
for
literally not even crazy. Like
real.
I'm not the one.
I
So
have a story to tell you after this, but I was
mm,
gonna say that the reason why is because you are emotionally intelligent. You understand
mm,
how emotions work, you understand how energy works. You understand that if someone's giving you negativity and you give it back, that's just going to be bad on you. So you just choose to
mm,
focus on you. So that's not a bad thing. I think anybody listening, if you've never heard of emotional intelligence, you should probably look into it. I know myself, I had to like really understand that more because I didn't understand why certain things were the way they were. But okay, so along with the thing about the kids pushing your buttons, man, I got a little story
mm.
time. Okay,
Okay,
so
okay.
there was this one time I was a swim instructor. Okay, so I teach kids how to
Mm,
swim, I teach adults how to swim, I can teach people how to swim. I'm certified.
mm,
I was teaching this class and I had these level
mm,
threes in there. So level three is when they're comfortable in the water. They can
mm.
glide in the water. They can kick, but they can't move their arms yet. Okay, so that's the
Okay.
level I was working with. So the kids are a little bit. They can stand up in the water. They're fine. So I had this one kid. He was a redhead. Mind you, I'm teaching in a predominantly white area, just saying that. But so the kid, the redhead, he was hitting me. Literally,
Really?
yes, literally hitting me, spitting water in my face while I'm trying to
Oh
teach a
no.
class of 5 kids. Like, he was digging his nails in my back. Like, he was
What
doing
the?
all this stuff. I try to tell him to sit on the side of you have to sit on the side of the pool. Like, I'm pausing the whole class to discipline this child. Mind you, the parents, they're supposed to be in the room watching from the other side. Like, the parents are not just supposed to drop their kids off to swim school and just dip out. Like, you're supposed to
Right,
pay
be out.
attention, because for all you know, the swim instructor could be doing the wrong thing and your kid could be drowning. So if you're not there, you're not banging on the window like, hey, watch, like, so
Right.
it's a high risk sport. It's very dangerous when it comes to swimming and you're dealing with kids, because if you don't know what you're doing, they can really drown. So the thing is that I didn't do anything bad, but so the kid was like really bullying me in the pool the entire class, like a solid 15 minutes. So I'm just like, okay, you don't want to listen? All right, we going to the deep end. Everybody, come on, we going to the deep end. Like,
Oh no.
like we
Oh
going to the deep end.
no.
Yep, you want to play with me? We going to like, you better hold on to the
Oh
wall.
damn.
You better hold on. Like, I was not playing with him. Like, I didn't do anything bad or anything, but I just told him, hey, you know who got your life in like, I got your life in my hands right now, right? Like, you want to be a good kid. You don't want to be a bad kid. I was trying to teach him discipline, but his parents clearly just let him run amok. Like,
That's not your
literally,
job. That should be your
it's
job.
not my job to raise your child. Like, that was a maturity, like, patience lessons for me, because it was just like, yo, this kid is literally bullying me in the water. There's parents watching on the other side. They see me not being able to teach their kids because this one kid is being bad. Like, he's holding up
Right.
the whole class for everybody, and nobody's stepping in. Even the people my manager, nobody stepped in. They all was just letting it happen. So, and mind
Yeah,
you,
nah,
you're on presentation when you're teaching a swim coach. Like, when you're swim coaching, everybody's watching you. Everybody's listening to what you're
Oh,
saying. They're watching what you're doing with the kids. They're making sure that, because I'm not going to lie, like, it's a situation where if someone steps 1 foot too far, they live, like, that's the way the pool is. It goes from low to high. So if the kid
right.
takes 1 step too far and they don't know how to hold their breath, or they don't know how to blow out their nose, they're getting water in their mouth, they're getting water in their nose. They don't know how to do these things. So it's a serious thing, to teach someone how to swim. It's not something you should take lightly. But I'm just saying that,
Definitely not.
like, have you had a situation like that where, like, a kid really tried you, or like really, made you almost lose your cool?
Oh man, I think there's very few times I let them get me to that point.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing that came to mind when you talked about that is it was I think it was the spring semester of my first year. I think it was the spring semester. Maybe it was my second year. I can't, they kind of blur together because we do the same thing every year.
You see the time?
Uh, huh?
Oh, it's different time on your time. Never mind.
Oh, yeah.
Do you believe in angel numbers?
Well, it's 2:33. Oh, it's 3:33 on yours.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2:33 on mine. Yeah. One of my friends, she's really into that, and she be breaking it down because I don't know that kind of stuff. But she's like, oh, it's 4:44. Oh, it's 2:22. I'm like, what does that mean?
Those are good signs.
So,
So, you never heard of Minx Diva? Because you saying some things that she said, and I'm thinking, like, oh, you probably watched the videos. You never seen
mm-mm,
the videos?
mm-mm,
Listen,
no.
okay. So you coming on my podcast, man. You ain't even listened to the first episode. The first
I know
episode.
that
It's
was
okay.
really
I'm
that was
not
the
coming
first
for you. I'm
episode.
just joking. But
Low key though.
I'm
You
just
did.
joking. But you should check it out for real. Because Minx Diva,
No, yeah.
she gives her her messages on what the angel numbers mean, and I'm not gonna lie, they are
Oh.
on point with my life. They are like absolutely on point. So like every time I see a number and I listen to the
Hmm.
message, you get a message. You know, it may not be everything
Oh.
she has to say, but like something she says is gonna resonate with you, and it's gonna be like, okay, you're on the right path, or okay, this means this, or okay, this is the time that you need to embrace this change. You know, like certain things like that.
Mm.
It's like, yes, you're spiritual and you have been following your spirit, but there's more messages to be heard. There's always more to learn, you know. So I
Oh, of
encourage you to
course.
really look into it. She's on YouTube, so you can just
Okay.
literally any angel number. If you see an angel number, then look it up
Hmm.
on YouTube. Don't look it up on Google.
Okay.
Look it up on YouTube and listen to
Not
Mink
Google.
Steve. No, I'm serious, because Google, everything on Google is SEO, so
Yeah.
you
Okay.
can't really base it on that, because if someone has really good SEO where they wrote angel numbers so many times in their blog posts that they show up
Hmm.
first, you know, that's different than like someone really resonated with YouTube and she's blowing up. Like her videos continue to blow up. People continue to
Really?
come across her. Yes, yes. And she's from
Mm.
North Carolina. She got a whole spirituality shop. Like she put me on to this really good incense that smells so good. It smells so good. And then she put me on to burning Palo Santo. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Okay.
It's just wood. It's just wood. You're just burning
It's
wood.
just it's just
Yeah.
wood.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not that spiritual where like I'm like I connect with the angel numbers because it connects me to God and the messages are from God, and I feel like very
Mm.
connected when I listen to her. So
Hmm.
that's where I really feel that it's encouraged me to keep going on my journey. Like it's like motivational speaking too. Just like preaching, you know, like
Ah.
listening to a preacher, but it's like a different type
Right.
of preaching. Like she's preaching from her car, you know, like which is pretty cool, you know, if you think about it. Like
Right.
it's somebody random you never would have met before, really cool person, great vibe, and you get to experience that like just by watching it on YouTube. Like it's lit. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to
So
check it out then.
yeah, I
Definitely
got
have to check
very
it
distracted.
out. You
Okay.
asked me about
Oh yeah,
oh,
tell me about a
after
time. You
incident.
gotta tell me about a
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll take y'all back then. Let's see. So it was spring. I think it was spring semester. We were doing lab one day. Biology lab. You have a bunch of different tools and stuff, everything that you're using. I think at the time we were about to get ready to do dissections, and I had went over all the safety stuff. Something you go over all the time, but you still
Hmm.
reiterate it. Because kids being kids, sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't, whatever.
To the safety rules,
And
they don't listen.
yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of times they don't. They listen enough to take the little quiz or the test so they don't fail and look stupid.
Mm.
Because then they say, "How you fail the safety quiz, bro?" Like,
I
what?
know, right?
Like, what are you
You was
doing?
probably a cool teacher, man. You was probably a
So
real cool teacher.
from the kids say, so I rock with that. They say I
Yeah.
was. So
And you on
we
TikTok,
were.
man? You probably lit. Like, yeah, you got to be.
I mean, that was them. They was the ones busy telling me to get on that thing. If it wasn't for them, I would never got on. I really, honestly, that if I never would have did that,
Wow.
then I
That's
wouldn't be, I
lit.
wouldn't be where I am now.
That's
So,
lit. So
so
you took a step that it seems like a misstep, but it wasn't a misstep because it still led you on the path.
exactly, exactly.
So
Because I
even
never
though,
would have thought this.
because even teaching art, you went to school for something different. So it was just like, you kind of like let your spirit, like low key, you're on the path. You're always on the path. Like everybody's on the path. They just don't
Low
realize
key.
it.
And that's
They,
the thing. It's like realizing when you have those moments that are those like aha, scream at you, moves your entire soul moments. Like some don't sit right.
hmm
Not to ignore them because those are usually those moments that could be ones that are potentially life changing. And it might not seem it at the moment. It might not happen right away. And I feel like that's what a lot of people look for is they want that at like that
that perfect, like,
reassurance right then.
but they're
Like,
getting that reassurance all the time. They just aren't listening to it. Like I feel like we know when we're happy and we know when we're pretending to be happy. Like Look,
Right.
like even behind the mask that we
Mm.
put up when we go to work and when we conduct ourselves as professionals, I
Well, I
feel
feel like you
like
just did air quotes in there.
I
I feel like
did,
I just said air
I
quotes in
did,
there.
I did.
Professionals.
I'm just
We just
saying
grown
that,
kids with bills.
like, being somebody we not,
Mm.
doing something we're
Exactly.
not, like, adapting, listening to rules, listening to what other people say, following their how we they think we should be, or following the dreams that, or just literally surviving, surviving.
Mm. It shouldn't be
Surviving
like that,
is more than that. Life is more than surviving. Like, I
but that's
want
not
to
what they taught us.
that's not. And here's the thing is when I was in college, I was watching this is don't judge me. You know about Armand and Trey?
Hmm.
You know about Queen Naja and Chris?
Yeah. Yeah.
You followed the whole thing?
Not the whole thing, but I knew like their story for a little bit.
Okay. So I was watching them on YouTube when Chris and Queen were Chris and Queen. So I was live, like literally when they came out with a video, I was watching it. When they came out, like I
Mm.
was watching it. I was watching it like it
Oh,
was
you was
like,
on it.
yeah, because here's the thing. They're not that much older than me, right? They're not that
Hmm.
much older than me. They're
Hmm.
living the life. They got a nice house. They spend all day with the family. Like they go on
Right.
trips. They travel together. They go to Target. Like it's just like family vibes and like loving vibes.
Mm.
At least it seemed like that kind of. But also they pranked each other a lot. So like that was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. Like after a while, the pranks are fake, but in the
Fake, right? You
in
got
the
the point, like,
beginning
all
it
right.
wasn't though. In the beginning it wasn't. So that's when it was like the
Hmm.
most authentic. Like I'm not gonna lie, if you go back and watch the Chris and Queen and Armand and Trey pranks or perfect laughs, like
Mm.
if you go back and watch them, they're really hilarious to me. And it was really cool to me that they both, like, they sung music, that was what they were known for, but they also were good for entertaining people,
Yeah.
so just seeing someone be an influencer at a younger age than I am, and I'm in college doing this, and I'm doing film, and I'm thinking, okay, so how I'm going to do this, like how I'm going to figure this out.
Right.
So it was just like seeing that gave me something to like actually like compare myself to that was like different than anything else I had seen. Like all I seen is
Right.
people work for somebody. That's all I seen. I never seen somebody
Right.
work for themselves. So like when I saw that, it's like
Like,
slowly
how
but
do I get that?
surely, yeah, it was like how I had to make it click, so you have to get more information. I feel the more information you get, you got information about TikTok. You didn't know about,
Right.
you wasn't on it. I wasn't even on TikTok like that until the pandemic. So
Yeah.
that's actually TikTok is actually how I grew my page. My whole page was just reposting
Mm.
TikToks. That's all it was.
Oh,
And
dang, for real?
it was
Okay.
good TikToks though. Like it was like either it would make you laugh or it would teach you something or would
Mm.
encourage you. Like I was just pulling at those heartstrings, like sharing content that
Mm.
people like and also putting people on, because people can have a big TikTok, but they may not have that big of a Instagram. So it's like I'm bringing your stuff to this platform. I'm helping people find you. I'm also being of
Right.
service. I'm not just taking, but I'm giving credit where credit's due, you know?
Right.
So I just feel
That's
like,
important.
yeah, I just think that's so crazy that like you pursued the whole teaching thing. You went to school, you were thinking you were going to be a doctor, and
Right.
you among people who did become doctors, but you still like was just like, okay, no, I'm gonna just do it. I'm gonna figure it
Exactly.
out.
Then I just knew, like, like you just know something's not for you, and that's perfectly fine. I think that's the hardest thing I know for anybody. We're so, as human beings, we're so hell bent on time, right? So we use time as a standard of value, whether that's a relationship, whether that's you working on something,
Hmm.
you put a certain intrinsic value on time, which as you should. There's obviously that's important, but time isn't the end all be all of what something should or shouldn't be or what it should and should look like. And that's something I had to realize that it's like, yeah, sure, I put in 6 years of, collegiate work in academia to get to a certain point, and it's not working for me. And I
Mm-hmm.
think coming to that realization was really hard because it's like you literally went to undergrad, got this whole science degree, then continued on, did a post-bac that you turned into a master's degree, and then you're still not going to go be a doctor. It's kind of like now you talking about you want to be an artist full time. Like, my mom, we make the joke like, "Oh, I paid $100,000 for you to be an artist," and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I mean, but it was a joke at first, and then
But it's
when it
kind of
became
like,
reality,
yeah.
it became a reality. But it wasn't a bad thing though. It was like, oh no, like you're doing something you love to do, and it's more beneficial. And like even looking at it, I was looking at this like how much I technically like if I didn't have any expenses anything like that, how much I made, and I was like I made more than I did in 6 months than I did in a whole year of teaching,
Wow.
which is a crazy thing to think about when it's like, dang, and I had made a video about this on Instagram recently. It's like one of my friends, he always used to tell me when we were like kicking and stuff, he'd be like, man, imagine if you gave your business 100% of your time. Right now, you're only giving it 25%, but what if you really gave it 100 just for like a year or so
Mm-hmm.
and see what happens?
Mm-hmm.
And me giving it 100 and seeing how things have changed just in 6 months, not even a full 6 months. I'm excited to see where the year is, where that 2 year mark is and how that growth and evolution keeps happening. Because one thing is, like, it's not like I'm running out of ideas or things to do or things to make. It's not that I don't have that problem. It's more so I have the opposite, where it's like I have too many ideas. I have
I
too many things
know,
right
right?
now.
Hey, I don't know.
That's so weird. Yeah, it's
I'm
weird.
sorry. I don't know what just
I
happened,
think.
but it just cut off for some reason.
Yeah, but I heard. Yeah, I heard you say something, and then I responded, and you're like, "Hello," and I was like, "Oh, crap, I don't know what happened." So
Um,
you said, "Where are you at?"
I was just saying you got to check out the first episode, man, because we was talking about that. Because the whole like overwhelming amount of ideas coming and flowing to you at the same time, and it's just like, damn, damn,
Mm,
damn, so many good ideas. Like, oh my gosh, where do I start? So,
exactly,
but that's a good
exactly.
thing, honestly. That's connection. Like, that's like you are with your gift. Like, this is you all the way
Right,
because you can't even stop with the ideas. Like, they just keep flowing.
right, and they keep evolving. I think that's the beautiful thing about it because I've realized that I'll be thinking about something. Somebody I'm close to. I'll be like, I'll start talking to them about it, and it's almost like like the gaps that were there, it gets filled
Mm-hmm.
in and flushed out even more. So
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes like, oh, so what about this, and this? It's like, huh, I never thought of that. Let's try this out, and
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes like a whole new thing, because like one of the things that like I was really passionate about that I started last year was kind of just having better representation, like with anime, for instance. There's a lot of black cosplayers. I don't know if you're familiar with cosplay.
So you're gonna do another
That's a yes.
Boondocks, like something like Boondocks or something like that,
So I'm
please?
creating my own. Yeah, I'm creating my own. I guess like my own like animation thing that I want to do. I want it to be animated, but right now it's gonna be like a comic. And I've
Sorry, I'm
been
so
thinking about
excited.
it. No, yeah, that's good. I need that energy because I was like, one of the things is I was thinking about it and it started to flush out. The more I've talked to people and the more I want to incorporate because one of my biggest things about when you're presenting something to people, you want it to have depth, right? You want it to have some type of value that you can bring to them, even if they don't know that you're doing it.
Mm.
And like one of the things that, when I was researching people and how they created some shows, like the guy who created Naruto and stuff like that, he was talking about like one of the clans of people that he brought in. The reason why their eyes look a certain way is because when he was growing up, Hiroshima happened. Like, and people that he saw in his life growing up, they had like the whited out eyes because of they got blinded from from the blast and like
Oh my
radiation poisoning and all
gosh.
that stuff. So he turned characters in the show. He did the exact opposite instead of, because in reality they had really weak eyesight, but in the show he made them have the best eyesight in the show. And I was like,
Wow.
you tying in that
He
piece of
turned
your
it into
history,
a
people.
negative into a positive.
Exactly. And that's things like when I was thinking about stuff, because I wanted to create a show that highlights us. You know, we're the some of the main characters, but there's also obviously going to be different people. But a lot of the main characters will be, black or like Afro Latino or whatever, like, or just African in general. Like I wanted them to have roots because all my friends are from very diverse backgrounds. And I
Hmm.
wanted to like tie all those things in so that even historical figures and like and moments that happen in history that we necessarily have lost because they don't teach those things anymore. Like
Mm.
you don't learn about some of the stuff that's happened, back in the 60s and 70s anymore, and things are beginning quote unquote removed because of sensitivity issues and they want to make sure things are politically correct now and da 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 da. But it's like you can't censor everything. You're censoring it. So kids don't
Yeah.
know. Like you ask kids now about 9/11, they have no idea what the Twin Towers are. If you show them a picture of it, they're like, "What is that?" They don't know
Hmm.
what that is. Even in
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of things that get lost in translation, and I want to highlight stuff about us that isn't so quote unquote like heavy in terms of like, oh, these are like our African roots, and this is this and this, and it's like I want to have those ties in it to where it stimulates it's thought provoking, but it still teaches you something without teaching you that, and
Hmm.
then it makes it very fun and interesting. So it's been really cool to like kind of building those things up, and even and it started with me drawing black cosplayers that I met through TikTok
Mm.
because a lot of them get a lot of hate and a lot of negativity because a lot of the traditional characters that you see in mainstream like media stuff, they're not black, they don't look like us, but
Yeah.
doesn't mean that we can't love it. Like I can't love Harry Potter and Star Wars and
I know, right?
any type of anime because I'm black. That doesn't make
I
sense. And if I
know,
want to
right?
dress up as freaking Luke Skywalker, or if I want to dress up as Naruto, or freaking Deku from My Hero
So,
Academia, or
so
whoever, why
let me
can't I?
ask you something. Let me ask you something, okay?
Hmm.
What is it like at those cause things? Like I don't
It's
know.
fun.
I just feel
I feel
like
like you should just go check it out. Like if you do one, I don't know, like I know there's this thing called Fan Expo, right? So Fan Expo is more so just anything that has like a fan base. So it could be movies, books, it could be, Marvel stuff, could be DC,
Game
it
of
could be
Thrones and stuff
anime,
like that,
Game of
or
Thrones. Like people, yeah, people dress
Supernatural.
up. Exactly. People dress up as this any character that you can think of that has existed in the entire world. It's literally a fan expo. It's a bunch of like it's a convention just for fans of anything.
So what do y'all
And I feel
do?
like that it's like they have different booths that have merchandise. You can meet voice actors. People talk about how they started. Some of the writers for shows or some of the actors talk about how they got the role as being the actor.
So it's just a bunch
They
of
talk about
creatives, like people who
yeah, just
are
kind of hanging out. Yeah,
okay.
and
Okay,
you
it's
go and
just
check it out. Go see
I have
things.
I have a little like I don't know. Maybe it's because like people do be people. Okay, so as a culture, sometimes we can pick on things that are different. And I feel like
Right,
that's something that, depending on how your parents raised you, determine how creative you were allowed to be. Like
right.
as a boy, honestly.
Hmm.
Um,
True.
and would you say that if your mom hadn't been so encouraging of your creativity, that you would be comfortable doing those things?
Oh, definitely. Because my mom she's really big into like comics and stuff. Because she had older brothers. She's the
Hmm.
youngest girl. So I
Yeah.
think a lot of that stuff, she was just like, I liked it because they liked it. So, I'm gonna
Hmm.
introduce you to it. And kind of from there, it wasn't like a thing that got shunned because my mom was just growing up. She was very much so just being inclusive, like, accepting people for who they are and not to judge people. Because even when I had my classroom, I would make sure that I talked to all the kids, and then we would talk about something. If they brought something up that I knew about, I talk about it. And the thing is, growing up, I really did a lot of stuff, so I was familiar with a lot of things, and I keep an open mind. And then also, if I didn't know about something that one of the kids brought up, I would look it up just to see why are they interested in this, as a
So
way
you
to
were
just
very curious as a child.
yeah, like and then she encouraged that where it's like you want to be open-minded, because then that's when you miss out on opportunities and stuff like that, and just the possibility of new things because you're being closed-minded.
Mm.
Because it's like you can't say that you can't don't like something if you haven't tried it.
Yeah.
Now, if you try it and don't like it, all right, cool. Then you can. Then I can't sit here and argue with you about you. Oh, you could like this or not like this. It's like, well, did you try it? Yeah. Did you like it? No. Like it's like, okay,
Are you
that's
vegan?
I've tried it, don't like it.
I
So
understand.
like I mainly like we didn't eat red meat like that in my household, and that's not
Mm.
like it wasn't like a religious thing. It's just that I just I didn't grow up on it. We just a lot
Yeah.
of ground turkey, a lot of fish, like a lot of salmon, a lot of
Mm.
catfish,
Okay.
chicken, but we weren't eating steaks, and we really don't. I don't eat pork really at all. Like anything, I don't eat pork unless it's like a pepperoni pizza.
That's
That's some just
crazy. My
random
dad did
guy.
the same thing. We didn't eat pork in our household, but we ate red meat. But
Mm,
I think it's probably because they were being health conscious.
hmm.
Because they say red
That's fair.
meat is bad long term.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It
fish and
doesn't
stuff
break
like
down your
that is
body
more
as fast.
nutrients.
Exactly, exactly.
So they
Yeah,
they
so
were
we
they
didn't
were
do
onto
that.
something right there. Did y'all eat out a lot as a kid or fast
Nah,
food? No?
it was very much like here's leftovers, grab some leftovers. She would always bring me something when we were like going to McDonald's or something was a big deal. Going to
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A, like we might eat out once a week. And it
Okay.
wasn't even like, and a lot of times it was pizza for movie night, or we'd have nachos or maybe get some tacos or something. Like it was nothing like, oh, you're hungry and we're driving around. Like, nah, I brought a snack or I brought some fruit or something. Like,
Mm. So,
you
okay.
know,
So you live in I'm not trying to put you out there, but you live in
mm,
Texas?
yeah, Dallas.
So so is it a lot of Hispanic culture there?
Oh yeah, plenty of it, plenty of it. That's a
So
big part of being
what
down
are
here.
some restaurants you recommend in Dallas?
Uh, like Mexican restaurants or just in general.
Both.
Okay.
Like I like Indian food, but I don't know if they have that.
Okay. Oh yeah, they do. There's one place called it's like my Roti Kitchen, which is pretty good. It's like an uptown, so that's more like closer to like the downtown area.
Mm-hmm.
And then
What do
there's
you get
another
from
place.
there?
I like the chicken tikka. Was it masala?
The
That's
tikka
like my
masala,
go-to.
the butter
Yeah,
chicken. Okay.
yeah. That's my. I actually was thinking about getting some the other day. It's funny.
Mm.
There. Let me see. I mean, then like our farmers market downtown actually has like a wide variety of like different cultural stuff. So they'll have like Indian, they have Caribbean. Whereas the Caribbean food here isn't as good as up north. I'm not gonna lie,
You said the
but
Caribbean food?
yeah, it's not as good at all. Like it's cool, but it doesn't hit like when I used to live in Philly. I
Mm-hmm.
had this place over in West Philly, like on 142nd.
Mm-hmm.
This used to slide. I mean, it was like, it was it was right beside the old laundromat, little hole in the wall joint,
Yeah.
and but it slapped. I was like, oh my! I'd go there, spend $10, and be good.
What would you get?
I get simple jerk chicken. They had like the candy yams, rice and peas. Then they used
Mm.
to do like an extra thing of like mac and cheese.
Okay,
Man,
okay. I got you.
it's simple.
I
So,
got you.
but
Um,
there's a restaurant here called Mariano's that is like it was the place. So the guy that started Mariano's down here, he actually invented the frozen margarita machine,
mm,
which is a fun fact. But like their food is on point. Like that is probably my favorite. If I had to pick a Mexican place to eat, that is my favorite place to go. The food's really good,
what do
drinks are
you get
good.
there?
It's the thing. It's like a blackened chicken verde, and it has like
A
Spanish rice.
bere? Like what? What is that?
Like it's like blackened chicken verde. It's like a I don't know. This is what they call it, but it's just like a blackened chicken with like this green sauce and
Like a green salsa on
rice.
top?
Yeah, like they have like it's like I guess like kind of almost like a smothered kind of chicken in a way, like our version of smothered chicken, but it's Mexican style.
Okay.
It's like that, and it has like a puff like a puff pastry, but it's filled with like cheese and stuff inside. It's kind of cool.
Hmm.
and they make all the tortillas and chips and stuff in house. Like they literally got
Oh,
grandma in the kitchen
nice.
rolling the thing.
Queso.
Like yeah, like everything is done like
Mm.
in house right there in front of you. It's really
Oh,
good.
like even
So
the guacamole?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's really cool.
So
That's very
yeah,
cool.
it's fresh. Yeah. So, but there's just a lot of Dallas has a lot of places. It really just kind of just depends on what you like and what you want.
Hmm.
So. But it's cool. It's a lot. It's a young. I feel like a lot of young professionals have moved here because a lot of businesses have come here in the past couple of years.
For
So
Dallas?
yeah, like our big scene. I feel like now is brunch. Like that's become like the thing. Like you going to
Oh,
brunch.
oh, let's go for brunch, like that's like a thing on the weekends or during the week.
Oh yeah, not on the weekends. Like that's during the weekdays. I mean, honestly,
Everybody's at work,
since I'm not
yeah.
like yeah, everybody's at work, but like on weekends, like everybody's going to brunch.
Mm,
You know, I mean, I feel like our social scene isn't what it used to be.
mm.
Like, especially for Black people, there's a couple of places that were like, yeah, like you go there, you know you were gonna have a good time. But now
What's
I feel like
what's a
it's so.
good time to you?
I mean, honestly, there's like good energy, good vibes. Like, I ain't gotta like. I'm got to the point I got used to the day party scene. Like, if I was to go out and have a good time in my mind, it'd be like, go get some food somewhere good if you want to, or you can just eat at home. Get a little
Hmm.
lit at the house and
Hmm.
then go to like a nice day party. Like you go there from about two to nine or something. You dancing, music's good, people are good, like good energy, and
Hmm.
then get some food and come back to the crib. Like I don't need to be out till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
For real,
It's
that's a
not
lot. That's a
it's not a
lot.
way.
Especially if
Yeah,
you're drinking all
parking.
day.
Right, that's what I'm
By
saying. Like
nighttime, you ready to go to sleep, man. Like, I understand.
facts. And I feel like people are nicer during the day. I don't know. Maybe it's because the sun's out, but
Yeah, maybe,
I don't know.
maybe.
It's just this thing in my head when times I've gone out at night, I feel like people have been more hostile, and
Mm.
it's like more problems. People get more accidents, parking is an issue, fights.
You ever think
There's been a lot of
maybe the way you think about it, or maybe I don't know, because maybe it's like selective focus. Because
that.
I live in Baltimore, and I drive
Okay.
Lyft. I drive Lyft at night. Like I drive Uber and Lyft at night, like all the time. Like that's what I
Ooh,
do.
more power
That's
to you.
huh?
I said more power to you. That late
Yeah.
shift.
Well, because I also think like I'm picking up girls, like I would want
Mm,
so to be with someone comfortable, have a vibe on my way home, So I be playing nice
true.
music. I be having it smell real good in here. Like I just be like giving them a good vibe. I got tents, so people can't see in at night, which is cool.
Mm,
But what I feel like is that perception. And I feel like it probably is true for those people that Baltimore is a dangerous place at night, or Baltimore is, you got to be careful or whatever. But I feel like if you're into certain things, or if you are
mm,
putting certain energy out and you're doing certain behaviors, yes, you got to be careful in any
yeah,
situation. Like,
definitely.
but if you're putting only good vibes out, only good vibes, every person's giving you 5 stars, everybody's having a good time. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I smoke in my car, so it be smelling like weed, and people like that. You'd be surprised. Like, people really like that. So they'd be like, "Oh, it
You
smells
got
so
that
good
gas?
in here." Like, they're like, "Oh, it smells so
Yeah.
good." Like, no, I don't have nothing for you. I'm sorry, I'm on the clock. Like, you're gonna have to ask somebody
I'm
else. But
dead.
um it's just cool because it's like I'll meet really cool people and then I'll never meet them again, or they'll connect with me on Instagram or whatever and like support me and stuff.
Mm,
So it's just
that's
cool,
what's up.
very cool because I can market myself low key without like being
Mm,
overly marketing, just like being myself. That's
right. That's
literally
the
my whole
point.
thing, is just being myself.
Right. That's
But
good. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah. But okay, so let me ask you something else.
Mm.
Um, Okay, what's the housing market looking like in Dallas?
Mm, I mean, obviously prices have gone up a lot because a lot of people have moved here.
Mm.
So I would say they're significantly higher than they used to be. I would
Specifically
think
in
that
Dallas or all over Texas? What do you think?
I mean, I know Dallas specifically because I'm here. I know
Mm-hmm.
like Houston's gone up too because some of my friends have moved to Houston. But I think now like even you could easily before like when I first came back probably like 2016, 2017,
Mm-hmm.
you could easily find a one bedroom that was about 600 something square feet to 800 square feet for a, like a grand. Like in
Oh, you
now,
talking about
like
renting, man? I'm talking about buying. What you talk
oh
about?
buying oh
I'm
I ain't
talking
got I ain't
about
got no buying
buying.
money. Oh, you
What?
got buying money.
Hold on,
Okay.
hold on 1 second. You say you ain't got buying money, man. You said,
Not yet.
you said,
Not yet.
listen, all you need is 3.5%.
Yeah,
All
that's
you
I
need
know
is
my mom's a
3.5%.
broker. I talked to my mom about it because my thing was the reason why is because I didn't plan to be here. Like I didn't
Oh,
me
you wanted to
staying
be
and
somewhere
moving around.
else?
Yeah, like I hadn't planned to really live here like that. And then like with teaching, it was kind of like a year to year thing. It was like, okay, well, I was applying the first 2 years that I taught, like I was med school was the goal. It was like, all right, this is what I'm doing. And then the third year, that's when I was like, okay, well, let me try to figure out what I'm doing next. So I really didn't have a plan. So like, I wasn't gonna put down for a house if I wasn't gonna be in Dallas. It wasn't until really
Mhm.
this year that I really was like, all right, I might be here for a little bit. At the very bare minimum, get a space that I can use commercially and then have a residential
Yeah, that
clause
would
in
be
there that I
lit.
can
Hell yeah.
have a studio and then live, have like a little upstairs, a little loft unit, whatever, another
Yeah.
part that's attached. So that's
Mm-hmm.
something I'm talking to my mom about now. We're trying to figure that out. But
Yo,
everything else, me
bruh,
putting down roots didn't make sense.
I got a whole nother business idea for you, okay? Okay?
Okay,
Listen,
okay.
if you are a creative. You are a creative person. You know, everything about you, I'm sure is creative. I'm sure your style is creative. I'm sure your shoe game is creative. I'm sure even the way that you take care of yourself is creative. Like you're a creative person. So that's going to be your environment, I'm sure. So what I'm saying is that if you did get that residential commercial space where like okay, up
Hmm.
top you got your own personal residential place and you do
Hmm.
your art or whatever, but downstairs is an art studio and you can
Right.
use it, but you can also rent it out to other people and
Exactly.
still
That's
do art
exactly what my mom
upstairs.
said.
And still
She
do
said
art
the same thing.
upstairs. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You got an
Exactly.
event space right there. People like stuff like that. Like even like people recording podcasts and stuff like that. Like I'm gonna be recording these in person. Like I want to start doing that. So
Hmm.
I'm going to start doing that. So I really want
Right.
to look into spaces that are like unique so that like my every episode has a different style to it, you know? But I'm
Right.
just saying that that's a whole thing right there. You can make money off of where you live. That's a perfect situation right there. Even if
Exactly.
you were
Exactly.
renting, because it could cash flow you something extra on top of
Exactly.
what you're doing selling your art, on top of what you're doing when you start doing the classes and stuff like that.
Right.
Like or you could even make an e-course. You could make an e-course and sell it and just market it. Just market it.
True. Exactly. So,
The world
yeah,
is
no, we
yours.
definitely.
The world is
Yeah,
yours.
I got you. I got you. But, what time is it? Oh, sorry, 3 o'clock.
It's
Tripping?
4 o'clock over
No.
here. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I'm sorry for
I did
taking
have
so
to
much of
go
your
in, but
time.
nah, you good. I'm about to actually get something to eat.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
did
cool.
you have any more
So
questions before I head out?
um okay, so can I ask you like three more questions?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. So the first one is um what advice would you give to someone who would like to pursue a career as an artist?
Okay. So first of all, I would tell that person, figure out your why. Figure out why you want to create. Like why do you want to do art? And I know that sounds kind of like cliche, but it's really important for trying to plan out how you're going to move. Because once you figure out the why, then that goes to the next question. Well, what will you create, and how will you use that why to create your content? Because you need to create things. I say need. I would say that you would want to create things that move you. So then while you're going through the creative process and doing what you're doing as an artist, it won't feel so tedious.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, in that way, you'll be passionate about it, and it make things that you can connect with and relate to, like create things that have purpose. Because that's one thing that I could take away. A big thing that helped me change my perspective of my work and how to present it was, a conversation I had with two women about purpose in my work. And like it's nice to have something that looks pretty on your wall, but
Mm-hmm.
it's even better to have something that looks nice, that has meaning, that you can connect with not only yourself but with others. It creates another layer of depth, and that's super super important when I think it comes to art, because a lot of art out there is very cookie cutter. It's very just like, I can get this anywhere, any place. There doesn't really have any meaning outside of like some words behind it, or anything like that. So if you can create something that hits those a connection point, I would do so. Another thing would be consistency. Be consistent. Put your stuff out there, whether that's a progress video, a shot, a video, like a photograph of you doing something. Just show up every day. Because it's going to take some time, and you're going to have things that are going to blow up, and there's going to be
Mm-hmm.
other things that won't, and that's fine. And there could be something you make one day that people hate, and then they love a year later. So
Yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't get
so
too down
true.
about, like I wouldn't get too down about stuff if it doesn't blow up right away. Like, you can absolutely love it, and that's the crazy part, is that you can make something that you love and you think is dope, and the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
world just say, yeah, that's cool. You make something that you're kind of like whatever about, but they absolutely love it. Like, I don't know. So it's very hit or miss, but the
Just
thing is, if you're true,
create. Just start
yeah,
creating.
yeah, exactly. So that would be my spiel to someone just starting out.
Very good advice. I appreciate that. All
Hmm.
right, so I have two more things. One thing is,
Okay.
all right, pretend we're 5 years from now. We
Okay.
are now 5 years from now.
Hmm.
Where are you, and what have you now obtained?
Where am I? I would say I have this dream of this like beautiful loft, like a New York style loft.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it's always been in my head, like exposed brick walls, da da da. Like I'm
You're an
waking up,
artist. You're an artist. I
yeah.
understand. I understand.
Exactly. Exposed brick walls, just like, my person is, she might not be there at the moment, but she could be around or whatever. I don't know, but she's there in some way. Like, I know she's there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're headed to like the Met Gala, and my plus one is my mom, and I can actually like, I'm actually part of one of the exhibitions in like a major museum.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's just like one of those like red carpet, like you're talking and you're not really like a super somebody, but you're somebody enough to be there, that you're on the list.
Oh,
And just to have that moment of like, hey, like telling her that like we made it and we did it, you know?
oh. I
So
see
like,
it. I see it. I see
so yeah,
it.
that's my ideal like kind of situation. I feel like that would encompass a lot of things, because there's a lot of things that I'm working on that like I want to show people later on. So I'm kind of not talking about it yet, but it's kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just show y'all, and then when
You're
you see
moving
it,
in
you'll be like,
silence. That's
damn,
okay. That's
right.
okay.
So, but I know like I have had that image in my mind, that scenario in my mind with
Mm-hmm.
like her in that moment, and like for a little while now. So that's
Oh.
ideally in 5 years. I would hope that there was some type of event that I finally felt like that I feel like I made it, because I think that's the big thing for me, is like um the small victory stuff. I say that, and I have to remind myself that constantly, to celebrate them, because I have this big vision of what I want success to look like, and sometimes along the way I forget to hit those like to celebrate those little milestones, because those little milestones
Yeah.
make those big moments even bigger and better. Like, dang, like I remember when I started here and we did this and this and this and this to get here.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in the moment, like I was saying today, like, oh, this video finally hit 1 million views. Like, I have 1 million view video. Like, that's crazy
Yeah.
that 1 million people have seen this. And like, at first
That's
it was
lit.
like, oh, that's cool. Right. Like, at first I was like, oh, like that's cool. But I was like, no, that's huge. Like, because
That
a
is.
year ago that wouldn't have happened. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like
You
so
you
just like little
locked
stuff like
in.
that.
You locked in.
Exactly. So that's what I would say for that question. Yeah.
Damn. Okay. I
Mhm.
just saw four eights in a row. That's crazy. All right. So,
All these angel numbers.
for real, for real. Okay. Um, how do the people get in touch with you?
So if biggest, I guess the easiest way would be my social will be Instagram, which is this William Toliver, like Oliver with a T,
Mm-hmm.
art. My website is this what art, which is WHTART.net. So it's like a play on of my initials.
Okay.
And my TikTok is the same as my website name. So that's like a really big way. Like I'm right now, like this month of January is a big planning month for me. Like just
Mm-hmm.
kind of taking a backseat, really kind of focusing on the things I want to do and how I want to move this year. Because
Yeah.
like we were talking before, there was a lot of things I have in mind. This this housekeeping stuff like inventory and like I'm spending this month kind of doing giveaways and giving back. So one thing that I am doing next week, like right now I'm doing like a sale, like an end of the year sale, which is like a thank you sale for
Mm-hmm.
everyone that has followed me. It's like a lot of the things in my store are like half off.
Okay.
And then next week, I'm doing like so I did this thing with Rolo, which is going to be coming out soon, but I have an extra Rolo printer, like the label printer. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be doing a giveaway for like, I want to give away one to a small business owner who's just starting out. So like, I'm trying to, film that video because I want to basically give someone else something that was really beneficial for me that
That's
I can kind
smart.
of just help them kind of get a leg up in the start because these things are like they're like $200, and when you're just starting your business out, I know when I didn't buy one because I was like, $200, that's a lot for
Mm-hmm.
this, this thing, which you're just trying to get your finances together, running your business and stuff. But that might be $200 you want to put into some other type of expenses, not necessarily your
Exactly.
printers,
You're
especially if you
saving
have like
somebody
a
else.
normal printer.
Yeah, I got you. I completely
Hmm.
understand. I
So
remember there was this one time I was just like, you know what? I need some quick money. Let me just sell my camera equipment. Let me just sell my
right,
camera.
right.
So I sold it, but I gave it
Hmm.
away for a really reduced price, and it was like a whole bundle. Like I gave away a tripod, a bag, a lighting kit. Like it was like a lav mic in there. Like it had everything you needed to start your YouTube channel. So it was just like, okay, I'll
Nice.
do it. But I just realized that it's not just about the money. Like sometimes you just gotta help somebody else because wouldn't you have wanted that? Like,
Right,
wouldn't you have
exactly. And that's
wanted
how I
that
was
help?
thinking about it.
Yeah,
Like
I completely
that would have been
understand.
amazing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I've just been trying to spend this month to just kind of reflect and just be thankful for the community that's been building around me and the support that I have, and just doing little things like I said, like the sale and everything, and then just like the Rolo stuff, and then I'll be doing like I'm actually gonna be doing at the end of the month like a big print giveaway. Like I'll do like one of my canvas prints, like a
Oh,
limited edition one, and then a couple of the other ones like I'll do like a thing. So there's just like I said, this is
that's so
those like
nice.
the big things.
That's
So
lit. You
I
you giving
wouldn't
somebody
be
something beautiful. Like here's
yeah, because
something
I wouldn't be
beautiful.
here.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. All right,
Yeah,
cool. So I appreciate you so much, William, for coming on. Like, thank you so much for giving me some time and really just having a good conversation with me. I appreciate it.
yeah. I
Truly.
appreciate you for having me. I really appreciate you having me. This has been cool.
Yeah. And definitely keep in touch, okay? Keep in touch.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good to me.
Enjoy your meal and have a great rest of your day. Peace, love, and blessings. All right?
You too. Have a good one. Be safe.
Bye.